Time for some breakfast. Not that kind of breakfast. Oh. 1, 2, 3. Look at those crabs. They're totally just fighting with each other all the time. There's 4 of them fighting. I think the hermit crab's like, I'm getting too big. I need to steal your shell. Oh, there it goes. Get off. Did you just see what he just did? Rub my belly. You're so bossy. I'm not gonna... If you demand like that, I'm not gonna do it. Please. World tours is mine. 10 little letters on a big sign. Justin Bieber. You know that I hit him with the ether. Fun's out. Wiener. But I gotta keep an eye out for Selena. Beauty. Beauty and the Beast. Beauty from the East. Beauty. Okay, sorry. Let's see how Bentley reacts to a yoga ball. Check it out. Is he gonna be Bentley Anna Jones? I can't get out. I'm too fat. Uh-oh. Oh. Inspect it. Inspect it. You see? Are you afraid of it? He's like, please keep me away from the ball. He's like, what is it? What is it? He's like, I'd rather play with that ball. For a big dog, big muscly dog, he sure is afraid. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put peanut butter on the ball, then he'll eat it. It's on the ball. It's right there. It's right there. No, oh, it's right there. Look, right there. There you go. I hope you're not afraid of the ball anymore. See? It's not an evil ball. You don't have to be afraid of it. Oh my gosh, what is it? What is it? What are you looking for?
There? Who's there?
Ow. Your tail. A really different dog once Aaron's back. And you know what I haven't played in a long time? Super Smash Brothers Hunger Games style! Hunger Games! Boom! Go, Peach! Kill them all! Boom! Boom! Yes! Ah! You slaughtered them! Peach is a beast! This is pretty cool. I always go on iwastesomuchtime.com. Like, all these little facts are pretty cool. You swallow a liter of snot every day. I didn't know this one. You see better when you're scared. Cat pee glows under black light. I didn't know that. 2 of the most common fears, clowns and heights. Oh no! You grow 121 feet of hair every day. Scientists don't know what color the T-Rex was. You fart a balloon's worth of gas a day. Hey guys, as you know, I am a really big movie buff. What I thought I would discuss today was my favorite animated movies. There's a couple things I wanted to talk about. First of all, I know that the Academy Awards have actually a nominated list of Best Animated Film of the Year, but in my opinion, I don't think that they should actually call it Best Animated Film. It should be called Best Animation in a Film, because Best Animated Film kind of creates a genre for itself. I know that they have Best Animated Short, but if you have Best Animated Film, what's been happening was one of the animated films would be nominated also for Best Picture, such as when Up was nominated or Toy Story 3 was nominated. Those 2 were also nominated for Best Picture. And so the whole point of having Best Animated Film, you already knew which movie was going to win Best Animated Film. If there was only one animated film nominated for Best Picture, you already knew that one was going to be the one that's going to win Best Animated Film. So I thought that they should, instead of analyzing the best film that in animation, they should analyze the animation within the film. Animation as an art form versus looking at the movie as a whole. So with that said, I made 2 lists. I made a list of my favorite animated films, and I made a list of my favorite animation in a film. The most beautifully animated films. I'll first go over my favorite animated films, because those are the easiest ones to go through. Number 10, Shrek 2. I love the original Shrek, but I loved Shrek 2 a little bit more. I think it's because they introduced Puss in Boots, Shrek became human. I thought that it was a very good sequel. Number 9, The Little Mermaid. That movie was part of my childhood. I thought it was amazing. They had like some of the best Disney songs. Number 8, The Lion King, the animated movie that I've seen more than any animated movie when I was younger. Number 7, Triplets of Belleville. If you have not seen this movie or heard of it, make sure you go out and watch it. It's an amazing movie. It's a French movie, but there is no speaking in the entire movie. It's really cool how they do it through caricatures and the drawings, and everything is just really amazing. I watched it 3 times in theaters. Number 6, Spirited Away. Hayao Miyazaki movies, they're amazing, and this is one of my favorite ones. I felt like the only thing that kept it from becoming a perfect movie was the ending. I felt was a little bit rushed. Number 5, Wall-E. Actually, the first time I saw it, I didn't really like it too much because I got really depressed. There were so many messages to that movie and so much social commentary, but when I watched it again and again, I really enjoyed it. Number 4, Beauty and the Beast. I guess this is my number 1 favorite Disney animated film of all time. The music was perfect, the animation was amazing. It was the first animated movie ever to be nominated for Best Picture, and it was amazing. Number 3, Toy Story 3. Me personally, I liked the third one the most. I thought that there was the most heart in that movie. They thought out everything very well, because when I was younger, Toy Story 1 and 2 came out. When Toy Story 3 came out, I was about the same age as Andy, who was going off to college. That was a perfect marketing there, because the kids who grew up with Toy Story are now the same age as Andy, and younger kids can still enjoy Toy Story. Number 2, Up. Up! This one is my favorite of all the Pixar movies. The music was amazing. They get you so invested in every single one of the characters, and I realized, I was thinking about it, why did I love that movie so much? They make you love every single one of those characters. I love all of them. I want to be all of their friends. And finally, my number 1 favorite animated movie of all time, Castle in the Sky, Laputa. Hayao Miyazaki's earlier films, everything about it was magical. That's like the only way I can describe the experience of this movie. I remember I watched this when I was really young, and it's just one of the most memorable movies. Every single scene I can still remember. Definitely go and see that. Now I'm going to list what I thought were the best animation in a movie. And these are not in any order. I tried to limit the number of 3D animated movies that I put on this list simply because the technology will increase over time, and I'm sure in the future when you watch one of these movies that are 3D animated now, probably be like, wow, the technology was really just like really limited. Hand-drawn animation, there's something about it that's like, it's timeless. They still look relevant to this day because they didn't rely on all this computer animation where technology has increased over time. I tried to focus more on movies that I thought would be timeless, where no matter when in the future you would watch the movie, you would still think that the animation is the most beautiful thing. What I thought was the most beautiful 3D animated film that I've seen so far was Rango. The textures, the lighting, everything about that movie was so visually stimulating. It was amazing. Toy Story 3, that one had I guess you're so focused on the story that you don't really notice the animation, but if you look very carefully, there was so much done. Third movie that I thought was one of the most beautiful 3D animated films that I think can hold up for a while is Brave. That one was amazing. Her hair was animated. What I really focused on was the forest. Seriously, they animate every single little twig and every single little piece of moss. I was like, what? My favorite claymation movie that I thought was the most beautifully animated was Fantastic Mr. Fox. I know Coraline was amazing, but I felt like Fantastic Mr. Fox brought that seriously to a new level. I love the visual style, it was very original, and although I didn't actually care for the movie too much, I know I'm one of the few that didn't care for it too much, I thought that the animation was so amazing in that movie. And all the rest now are hand-drawn animation. As I mentioned before, they're the most amazing ones because they're timeless. If they're done correctly, you can't tell when they were made. My Neighbor Totoro. Like the fluidity of the movements, that one's amazing. I have a lot of Hayao Miyazaki movies on this list because I still think that they are some of the most amazingly animated movies. Next on my list was Spirited Away. This one was so beautifully drawn. There was so much detail, and all of the different creatures that come to that bathhouse And the final movie from Hayao Miyazaki that I thought was one of the most beautifully animated movies was his most recent work, The Secret World of Arrietty. The garden. There's so much detail in every single one of those scenes. I was blown away. Unfortunately, I only have one Disney movie on the list, but it is a really good one. Whenever I think of one of the most beautifully animated movies of all time, this movie always comes to mind, and that's Sleeping Beauty. I remember Disney almost went bankrupt with this movie. They had to draw her like so many times to get her every single frame perfect. And on top of that, look at the forest scenes. The last two movies that I came up with on the top of the list of the most beautifully animated movies. The first one, The Illusionist. It looks like they just used a ballpoint pen and drew it, but there is so much detail. Seriously, I was like, what? I had a lot of problems with the actual movie and the plot, but visually, you can't get much more amazing than that. And the final movie, which I think is the most beautifully animated movie of all time, is The Secret of Kells. Have to admit that I didn't like the movie, although I know a lot of people did. I was like, what was the secret? But anyway, the animation in this movie was the most amazing I had ever seen. It was done with like watercolor and all these different mediums. And it was just like, there's so much detail in every single one of these shots and everything's moving. I remember that they said that they took like 8 years to make this movie. Just like looking at these screenshots, don't you think that's an amazing, there's so much detail. And so yes, there you go. Those are my top animated movies and the most beautifully animated movies. If you think I missed one of the movies, write them in the comments below. Oh, I'm so hungry, I'm gonna make dinner now. The problem is that when you drink a protein shake, you feel incredibly full, like so full, and then immediately when you burn off the protein shake, all of a sudden you'll get incredibly hungry. Like there's no middle where you're like fine. It's either you feel like you're gonna barf because you're so full, or you're incredibly hungry. So it just hit me that I'm so hungry, so I gotta make my food right now. Check it out, trying this ramen today. Yeah, got my veggies. Noodles now. This is what I'm using, my pork. I just sliced a few pieces and put them in the broth. And there it is, super fast. Just green onions, pork belly, and baby bok choy, my Tonkotsu ramen. Bangin'! Before I go to sleep, another philosophy from Modern Family. Always look people in the eye. Even if they're blind, just say, I'm looking at you in the eye. Good night. I'm gonna be making some dinner now. Apple cabbage and some ginger. Delicioso. So as I wash my vegetables, my Napa cabbage, I thought I'd tell you guys a little story. In college, I'm required for my major to take a culinary class, like a restaurant management class and a culinary class. So we learned how to cook in it. It was actually a pretty hardcore class. I don't know if you guys know the show Iron Chef, but it was pretty much, it felt like that. We were grouped up into groups of 4, I think, and then we had 2 hours to cook whatever the theme was for the day, and they were